Okay, and welcome back to Wild Alberta. Jokes. It's another windy day on the plains, and not quite as windy as yesterday, but I thought I would still do a separate recording from Narrative again today. Any case, the morning of April 22nd, 2018, a Sunday morning. So I'm out with my student at Sspopiikimi. You see a flicker digging insects here. We are in the first quarter of the lunar cycle Sspopiikimi, some the frog moon, and just doing our usual Sunday morning phenology round. See what's changed from last week. I just had one student with me, but we had a lot of fun checking out what's new. Here are some of the coots on the pond. Quite a few coots, more than our last visit. I think in this group, the north end of the pond, I counted 12. And they are chucking a little bit, starting to sing that mating song a bit, but for the most part, they're just feeding. So I don't know if they're going to migrate through. I'd love to see them stick around and put up nests this year, as they have in the past, but we'll see. It's a yellow-headed blackbird, Sspopiikimi, the underwater blackbird, or the water blackbird. This is the first arrival of one that I've noted so far this year, and actually there were two on the wet meadows today, both of them in these cattail reeds, as usual. This is where they like to claim territory and nest. Looking further along South Pond, you'll see that our swan is still there. I think she's a trumpeter swan, and always with her head under the water. Just a white lump. No, she is a swan, a beautiful swan after all. Yeah, conspicuously absent from the wide south pool after the last couple of visits, there are no buffleheads and no golden eyes. That's the first we've seen of zero golden eyes for months. So I think, you know, given how many there were in the pond last time, the golden eyes have ditched, migrated. There's a turtle, painted turtle, just briefly above the water. But they're out, which means to me that snakes are probably out too. So I'm going to go up into the coulees and check them out as well. Here's some more coots, another bunch of coots on the south end of the pond. Let's go look at the snake den, shall we? Here we have a resident, wide awake and basking. Well, not exactly wide awake. I was there for a bit with her, and she didn't notice me there the whole time. But then she was kind of caked in some mud, like she'd been sleeping in a mud pie. She basically has. And she hasn't shed her skin yet since coming out, so her senses are down, you know. But she didn't notice me. I was able to get pretty close, move very slow, and yeah, she never paid any attention. Not, you know, too many others out yet. Just one at each of the dens that I've visited so far. But they're the advanced guard, I guess. Also noticing in the canopy of the forest main, we have our first red-winged blackbird of the season. They usually get to the pond at least ahead of the yellow-headed blackbirds, so I'm surprised that to see them both kind of arriving at the same day. But yeah, he was up in the canopy of the forest main singing his classic song, the song that my brother renamed Got Your Wiener. Got your wiener. If you need a way to remember whose song that is when you hear it around the wetlands. Yeah, I can't help but hear that when I hear those birds now. And just before leaving the pond this morning, there was a pair of red-tailed hawks. They'd actually passed by 3 different times while we were on our walk, but I wasn't able to get them on video the first couple of times, and this last time I barely did. You know, this isn't great cinema here. But you can see them. I'm kind of hoping, since they're hanging around the pond, that maybe they'll decide to make use of the hawk nest in the forest main. That would be pretty cool. But we'll see. Always flying into the sun. After leaving the wetlands, I went out to my friend Tom's place. If you watched my video from yesterday, you'll know that Tom is having an issue with some wildlife critter coming into his shack by his trout pond and opening up the trash can that contains his fish food and helping itself to the fish food. So he wanted me to set up a camera trap, find out who it was. I went out yesterday afternoon and I did that. So here is Tom's trout pond, and just to the right there's his shack. It's bolted shut, but the bottom of the door is kind of pulled out. Something's been going in and out of there. And sure enough, the lid to the trash can is off, which is not how we left it. So I brought with me this little Epson memory device that allows you to look at images and video as you're switching from a memory card, you know, dumping it onto this unit. This is something I got. It is a cool part of a prize package that I won a few years back. I had won the best cultural photo of the year with Canadian Geographic magazine. So let's see who was the raider. All right, here we have our first look at the culprit. Any idea? He's gonna give us a full frontal soon. Reveal himself. Sspopiikimi. The panda bear. A raccoon. So, I don't know if you saw the time shot on that last little clip, but he showed up about 10:45 in the evening and hung out and ate, and alternately after eating he would get itchy, want to do some grooming and scratching and stuff. So you see him here just kind of hanging out on top of the trash can, somehow balancing on that edge. Itching and scratching, getting real into it, you know. His whole body's shaking. But yeah, scratch, groom for a little bit, and then, you know, when he's hungry again or when he's done getting the itch, then he dips back into the can, goes for some more food. I have over 30 videos of this guy from last night. He was in there for 3 hours. You see the time here, 1:41. So from 10:45 to 1:41, he's hanging out in the shed. We probably won't trap him, but we'll see. We're going to see if he's visiting the chicken coop too. If so, we might have to do something, but we'll see.